Hey everybody, Jason here with the Oklahoma Child Care Resource and Referral Association. Welcome to our series on the WLS program tab. Now, because of the complexity of the program tab, we are actually going to break this up into 3 different videos. This is the first of those videos, and it will be on the actual program profile. The second video in this little series is going to be on searching, adding new programs, and then the third and final of the program tab videos is going to be entering in technical assistance or TA. Now, I do encourage you to watch all 3 of these episodes as they're all really kind of interlinked together. For instance, you can't get into a program profile before you search for it, but a lot of the terms and search areas won't make any sense until you've seen this video. So we'll start with a basic profile page. Now the first thing you'll see is your particular logo in the upper left-hand side of the screen right here. And then just to the right of that, you'll see some basic contact information, whatever your particular provider has in the system. Now for this one, obviously this is just a demonstration, so there's no real contact information in here, but if you were looking at a real profile, you would in fact see their address and their phone number and all of that information right here. Under this information is the program type. Now this is going to be slightly different based on your region, based on what you call them. Some places just use Child Care Center in this case. Some others have other terms for that. But whatever that particular program type is will appear right here. Under that, you'll see the license number and then the record ID. This record ID is unique in the WLS system, and it lets us know what you're having problems with. So if you have one that's not showing correctly or is giving you some issues, this record ID is the unique identifier within the system that lets us know exactly which profile is causing problems. You'll also see sometimes that you will have a duplicate in the system, and so even with identical license numbers, identical contact information, this record ID is unique for each profile in the system. And so you can tell whoever your system administrator is this record ID, and it will tell them exactly which one to look at. Now to the right of the contact information, you will see 3 boxes: the action log, the status, and the referrals boxes. The action log box is just a history of what has been going on with this profile since it began in the system. A lot of these are going to be system generated, and you don't have to worry about those. For instance, the specialist updated profile, this new action log here, those are system generated whenever someone does something in the system. For instance, the specialist updated profile, it could have been that we changed the address, it could have been that we changed the phone number, something of that nature will generate a specialist updated profile when you click on the Save button here on the right hand side. If you click on the View All link here in the very top of the box, it will open a history of however many there are, and some of these go for years and years and years. All of these will show up in this action log dialog here. Action log also enables us to track things that aren't system generated. For instance, if you call a provider to do some sort of update to their account, and you can't get in touch with them, you can add an action log that says, we tried to call you, an attempted contact, basically. To do that, you click on the blue plus, and it brings this dialog here. You select your action log from the drop-down, see staff attempted to reach, and then in your notes, you can put whatever you need to add. Now, these are just some I've used on others before, but you can add free text in here. And we'll select that, and then we just hit save, and then it inserts an action log. It says staff attempted to reach, when it was done, who it was done by, and whatever notes they are. When you click on View Note, you can come in and update the note or change as needed. On the system administrator side, we can add as many action logs as we need. I think Oklahoma has 20-something that I have added in for our agency to use when they're doing their work. There are also limits to what you can change. Your administrators can say, yes, they can go in and change the note, but they can't change the date. Or yes, they can change the date of this even. The things that will not change is who it's recorded by. That is tied to your login account, and what the actual action log is. If, like some of my users, you have an issue and accidentally enter in one twice or accidentally click on the incorrect one, you will need to get in touch with your system administrator to delete that. And this is one of those cases where they'll need that record ID, so they know exactly which one to go and look at before they start just willy-nilly deleting things. Now, the next section is the status box. Now, this is where you mark your provider as being active, inactive, or closed. It's pretty self-explanatory. If they're active, that means they're open and watching children. If they're inactive or closed, they're not. To change their status, this is regardless of what status you're going to. Again, you click the blue plus, what their status is, and then any notes. Now, when you click on inactive and closed, we have some options for reasons. Could be they're no longer providing care. Could be that they've decided, we don't want to do it. We're just too broke, not making enough money. On the closed side, we also have some different reasons as well, including a closure for the COVID virus. Once you've decided what you want, if there is any notes, you can always put them in. I've had several that this is applicable to. They're inactive until their appeal has gone through the state licensure board. Click on Save. Are you sure? Okay. And then it adds a new entry in here. Now, because we didn't enter a note, of course there's no note. If there was, you could click and it will open it again, and you can see all this information, including when it was done, what the status was, and any notes that might be entered. Now, the final of these three boxes is the referrals box. This is to mark whether the provider is accepting referrals from the referral side of the WLS system. We'll get to the referral side in a later video series. But as with the previous two boxes we looked at, you click on the blue plus and then you say yes or no. We also have reasons in this. Those can be changed for your individual provider, but for the most part, it's similar to what we saw in the status boxes. Now, below all of this basic information, you'll see a series of tabs. These are various sections of the profile, and we'll touch on all of these as we go. The Update Data tab is where we'll start, and this is kind of the major bread and butter for this particular provider. Now, this first section is contact information. You can see that this is mostly who and where this provider is, how to contact them, any particulars that might need to be noted. For instance, if their mailing address is different from their physical address. Also in this section, you'll see login email and login password. This is so the provider can log in on their own profile and make certain adjustments to their profile. Some of this is locked down, and that will vary depending on your regional requirements, but we do encourage the provider to jump on, update what information they can when they can. And we'll go over some of that as we go through this. Now, below the contact information is the program types. Now, these are for additional programs within the provider. For instance, they may be a child care center that has a Head Start program, or maybe a family child care home that offers an infant toddler program. These are customizable for your individual area, so they may or may not be the same as what you see on the screen here. Now, below the program types is the credentials section. This is where their license number is kept, any kind of regulation that they might have to follow, the type of regulation, primary and secondary language if they have any, if the owner employees have any kind of accreditation. In Oklahoma, we also have any kind of certification or degrees that they might have, if the provider is accredited, and any notes you might need to have on this. This one is very customizable for you, depending on your regional requirements. So you may or may not see what is directly on the screen, but this is where that kind of information will be in the database. Now, under the credentials section is the Our Schedule section. What times they are open and closed, whether they consider themselves any special type of schedule. For instance, they offer temporary childcare. They offer extended hours. Maybe they offer overnight or weekend hours. This is also a fairly customizable section, so again, you may see options on your particular platform that are not on this demonstration. The next section is program data by age. This section has pricing data, it has enrollment data, number of openings, vacancy dates, all of the information that we'd like to be able to see by the age of the child. We also have some more information a little further down, what ages they care for, what ages they're licensed for, their desired and licensed capacity. For instance, they may be licensed for 50, but they don't have the number of employees to meet ratio for that many, so they may only accept 35. Any kind of business practices or policies they might have, whether or not they accept state subsidy. This is also highly customizable for your individual platform. You can put as much or as little data in this section as you want. However, I will say from experience that the rates are very important, regardless of which rate it is, whether it's monthly, hourly, daily, or weekly. We are requested that information all the time. And so that is one that we update very regularly in our own system here in Oklahoma. As far as openings, we tend to go more by the capacities, but we do have some people that ask about this. If you can get this information, it's great to have it. Now, up until this point, we've been looking at more required data, pricing data, contact information, what kind of credentials they have. Those kinds of things are generally mandated by contract to whatever agency controls your child care, whether that's Department of Human Services or whether it might be some other department. Past that in the system is what I like to call the self-advertisement section. About Our Program is a place where programs can kind of talk themselves up. Things that really will draw parents into the program. How involved is the family going to be? What kind of organization is it? Is it nonprofit or is it for-profit? Any kind of special services or activities that they might have. Do they have art? Do they have fitness? Do they have field trips? Do they have any kind of special curriculum? For instance, we have a lot of faith-based organizations in Oklahoma, and so we see a lot of that in this section. Is there any environmental considerations they need to think of? For instance, do they have pets? Do they have an outdoor area? So on and so forth. Do they offer meals? Are they offering transportation to and from school or to activities? All of those things can be in this About Our Program section. This is probably the most customizable of all of the program profile. Now, in addition to all of these, if you have special information that you need to track, it is possible to add those in to the system right here and have your own special boxes. For instance, in Oklahoma, we have been asked to track those providers that offer special needs assistance, whether it's medical needs or whether it's physical handicaps. We have a section in our database where we can enter that in, and it lives right underneath the About Our Program section. That is possible for all of the platforms, and that would be something to talk with Work-Life Systems about getting added to yours if you feel it's something you need. The customized data section is for those data points that don't really fit anywhere else in their profile. For instance, in Minnesota, there's something called Project Advance. Which project are they a part of? It doesn't really fit with any of the other categories, so they have a section here that they can add that in. Emergency preparedness information, and a rates updated date. This is also a very customizable section. We have information in Oklahoma's about Hispanic-speaking population, both staff and educational opportunities for kids. The imported data section are things that are added automatically to the system depending on other entries in their profile. These are representation districts, these are school district information, the nearest school, and specific latitude and longitude information. Now this one, the latitude and longitude, becomes very important when we go over to the referral side, because we do have some map-based abilities on that side to kind of show where things are related to the person who's searching, and we'll get into that when we go to the referral side. And the final section of this Update Data tab is their QRIS entry. This is the quality indicator, whatever that language is in your area. In Minnesota, it's Tier 1, Tier 2. In Oklahoma, we have a star rating system, 1 through 3. Depends on what it is for your system. This will be customized for your area. Now, if you've been watching really carefully as we've been going through this, on the right-hand side, this green Save button has kind of been following us around. And no matter what we have open, that still stays right there on your screen to where you can always get to it. When you make your changes, click on the Save button. I'll see, I haven't made any changes now, so it says no changes. So let's make a change. Let's add a telephone number. We'll do 555-123-4567. That's a good telephone number. So we added a telephone number. We click Save. Field data successfully saved. And then it reloads the page. And now we can see Specialist Updated Profile, the date, my name, and no note because it was a system-generated action log. If we scroll down, we can see that this new primary telephone number has been saved. And also notice that the boxes that we had open before have been closed, so there's no ability really to know where you were unless you remember where you were. And some of these can get quite long, so make sure you're finished in that particular box before you hit the Save button. That's it for the Update Data tab. The Pictures tab is where providers or you on their behalf can upload pictures to help show off the provider's location and facilities. To add a picture, click on the blue Add a Picture button. Click on the Choose File to choose a file. And remember, they must be the .gif, JPEG, or PNG only. Add a caption if you need to. And click on the Upload button. As with everything, if you make a mistake, need to get out, you can just hit the Close button and it will let you get out of there. Once you have pictures uploaded, you will see the picture itself, and then underneath there's a red remove button. Just click on that to take that picture off of the system. Also, bear in mind in this section, if you or your provider add any pictures that have children in them, the provider must have written permission from the parents or guardians on file to post those pictures. And again, we have that warning here as well. Now, continuing on, the View Profile tab shows what the profile will look like to a parent looking at the referral online. Included here are links to view the provider's location on a map. This is where that latitude, longitude, or address becomes really important. Because we don't have an address or latitude, longitude for this provider, viewing map won't really do anything for us right now, but that link lives here. This will open a Google map so you can see exactly where this provider is located. Any phone number, contact information will be here, the ages they serve, what type they are, their license number, their capacity, and how long they've been in the system. Also in here, that section on the Update Data tab that was all the self-advertisement stuff, all of that will also appear in their profile. Since we don't have anything in Haley Doe here, there's nothing to show, but it will show up in your real profiles. Our next tab is Consumer Education. This will be very variable depending on your location, but it'll be documents you can upload to the system, or your system admin can upload to the system, to help parents looking for childcare or to help providers with their system. The Referral Counts tab is a way of seeing how many times this particular provider has been shared in the system, whether it's been emailed or printed. Again, because this is just a demonstration, these numbers are 0, but every time on the referral side this profile is sent out via email, or every time it's printed, you will see these numbers increase. And it's a good way to show that they are actually getting traffic through our system. Now, the PIF email and PIF print is just a shortcut to use if you want to email the program's information or if you want to print the program's information. When you click on those, it goes through whatever your system uses to print or email automatically, gives you an opportunity to confirm it, and then does whatever it's supposed to do. I don't like clicking on those if I'm not actually performing those functions, because it does go ahead and just do it. So if I hit the PIF print, it's going to automatically try to send something to my printer, and it's better to leave it until you're actually using it. Now, our final tab here in our demo is the Trainings tab. Here in Oklahoma, we also have a TA or Technical Assistance tab. These are ways that you can keep track of all of your training, your technical assistance to providers, all of that kind of stuff. Again, this is very customizable for your individual area, and we'll be going into a lot bigger detail in part 3 of this program tab tutorial. So that's it. All of the profile data for the provider all in one place. Catch me next time for part 2 of our program tab tutorials. We'll be talking about how to search the programs and how to add new programs to the system. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. We'll see you next time.